I would like to ask a question. Are we going to be saved by faith alone? Before you call me a heretic, go onto a Bible search app like Blue Letter Bible and search the phrase faith alone. You will likely only get one direct match with James 2:24, which states, "You see then that a man is justified by works, and not by faith alone." That should make you stop and think about the present message in today's churches. You see, people like Luther and the Reformation, the Protestant Churches, they've gotten it wrong when they say that a man is saved by faith alone. It is true that men are justified by faith, but faith is not alone. I would like to make an appeal to the Old Testament men and women of faith. Would Noah have been saved by faith alone if he believed that God was going to flood the world, but did not proceed to build the ark and get inside of it with his family? No, they would have been destroyed in the flood with the ungodly. If Lot had believed that the Lord was going to rain down fire and brimstone on Sodom and Gomorrah, but had not fled away, would that kind of faith saved him? No, he would have been burned. Would Rahab have been saved by faith alone if she had believed that God's people were going to come and destroy Jericho, but did not place the scarlet cord out of her window? Would Moses have been saved if he believed that Israel was God's chosen people, but instead of obeying God, chose to remain in the temporary sinful pleasures of Egypt? What would have happened to the Israelites if they believed that the angel of death was coming, but did not place blood on their doorposts, or get inside the house, or partake in the Passover lamb, or rid their houses of leaven, or have their loins girt and ready to flee? Truly, they would not have been delivered out of Egypt. We see then that by their works their faith was made complete. If you are still not convinced, perhaps thinking that this is just for the Old Testament and it's different under the New, I want to share what Paul says in 1 Corinthians 9 and 10. After speaking about running the race in order to obtain the prize, the crown of immortality, and how he disciplines his body in order to not be disqualified for the race, he shares that the Old Testament accounts are allegories for us today. Israel was baptized in the cloud and in the sea, and was delivered from Egypt. They even drank from the rock, which was Christ. However, God was not pleased with most of them, and their bodies were scattered in the wilderness. He said that these are our examples, that we should not lust after evil things as they also lusted. We should not become idolatrous or commit sexual immorality, where in one day 23,000 people died. He says, let us not tempt Christ and be destroyed by serpents, or complain like Israel did and were destroyed by the destroyer. Paul repeats that all of these things happened to them as examples for us, and were written for our admonition. Therefore, we need to take heed, lest we fall. You see, we have these examples of people who were persuaded that God would perform his promises, and therefore prepared themselves accordingly. These people were saved by faith. There were others who may have believed in God, but they were destroyed for their disobedience. Now the question comes to us in our day. Will we be saved by faith alone? Jesus Christ has warned us that there is a judgment coming. We will be repaid according to our works. He has told us to cut off the things that cause us to sin, or we will let them take us to the fire of hell. He has called us to sell our possessions and give them to the poor, and to lay up a foundation for eternal life. He's calling us to lose our lives if we want to save it. He has told us that we must be faithful to Him until the end, obeying His commandments and bearing good fruit, or else we will be cut down and thrown into the fire. You see, not much different from Noah, we have an ark to build and get inside. We have to flee the wickedness of Sodom and not look back. We need to remain in the Passover house by remaining in the doctrine of Christ and getting rid of the leaven, which is hypocrisy. You see that we will be justified by our works and not by faith alone. May Jesus bless you.